this last dude is one. Let's go.
All right, everybody. Thank you for listening to that first interview. I'm sure a lot of you guys loved it. I got a lot of love for that last interview with Mr. Yo, but the show moves on, and it's time to go and take a little contrasted perspective this week. We got a new player coming in, BruhJarvis, or what do you call yourself when you're playing?
I just call myself Jarvis. The bruh Jarvis
Jarvis.
kind of came from my little brother because he's
Okay.
always like bruh Jarvis. So I just taking it in with it.
I was always thinking about, Tony Stark's AI. Like when I saw that, I was like, well, that's
Yeah,
dope. It's like
I get that a
accurate.
lot.
That
I'm a big Marvel
was
fan
dope.
too, so
Oh, that's good, son. That's good. So yeah, definitely wanted to take a contrasted perspective this week. Obviously, we had a very casual time last week. It was really fun. But this time I was like, you know what, why don't we try the tournament perspective? Why don't we try something a little bit more competitive? Someone who really hasn't been in it for too long, but took that step and actually started out and is now, a little knee deep into it, I would say, almost 2 years, right?
yes, sir. I started the end of MW, beginning of Cold War, and been playing competitively since.
What was that first step like? Like, when was it that you decided to say, all right, I want to take this next step. I want to join a esports team and I want to test myself. I want to see how I stack up.
All right, well, before I do anything, I really like to do like my research on stuff. So before I started playing competitively, I was watching it. Like I was watching Scump, I was watching the better players, and then I found out like there's a huge amateur scene. There's a bunch of people kind of with the same platform as me doing the same thing as the pros. So I started watching amateur players play. And after that, I decided, why not get involved myself? I joined a few discords, talked to a few people, and got in my first few tournaments.
So would you say that's that step? Like, Discord obviously is a huge platform for a lot of people. I mean, the GTA community, almost every
Yeah.
game. I found out about it probably 4 or 5 years ago, but when I did find out about it, people had already been on it for years, making groups and communities on Discord. So would you say if you wanted to start getting competitive, do communities on Discord give you that kind of access?
Most definitely. Like, there's so many routes. When I started playing competitively, it wasn't like multiplayer, like CDO competitive. It was Warzone. I started doing Warzone tournaments, and there's a league called ALG League. They're a huge Discord league. They kind of died now, but they really helped me get into that. And I think Discord is really the way to go if you want to start playing competitively. There's a bunch of communities from Warzone to multiplayer to even other games like Valorant and Rainbow.
All right. So this team that you joined, right? You said you were doing Discord for a while, and then that obviously died out after a while, and you decided to join this team and play competitively. So let's talk about this team. What's up with this team? The 302 is what they're called, right?
Yeah, 302 Esports. So remember when I told you that I started watching amateur teams?
Yeah.
302 was one of the first amateur teams that I watched. I saw
Oh,
them
that's
play
cool, bro.
out of ALG League, and I thought they were a cool group of guys. And when Cold War competitive, like when Cold War first started, they were hosting some tryouts for their competitive team, and I joined up. I did pretty good, but I didn't join the team that day. I actually joined further down the line to play some competitive Warzone under them.
Nice. So what is it? So once you join, right? So because this is a whole atmosphere that I feel like it's intimidating to a lot of small, players who haven't taken that step yet. It's intimidating to walk into a room full of people that are good at the game, or they see themselves as great at the game, and they all got this common goal. Is it a supportive environment, much more supportive than people think, or is it something that you kind of have to prove yourself before they let you in completely into their atmosphere? Like, what was it like when you first joined up?
I would say that you kind of have to prove yourself, you know, and it's sad that it's like that. I mean, some people are supportive, but most of the time, you got to really show people that, I'm not here to play around. I'm here to play the game and take wins.
Yeah, and be committed to the team in a way, right? To
Exactly.
what they're trying to do. That's
Exactly.
good. That's good because it's definitely intimidating. But if I feel like the message that we're trying to deliver, or at least that I was trying to deliver with this interview, is that you just got to take that first step and believe in yourself and just play the way you play all the time, and then eventually, whether it's not the first team you tried out for, like you said, you didn't join that first time you went and did the tryout. You joined further down the line. But if you stay committed to it, you should be fine. You should be fine to get into that realm and be just one of the boys. And now you have a team. So what's that team like? So you said the first two members of that team, where were they based out of?
Yeah. Name is Brixie and Flacco. Those guys are cracked on another level. I look up to them. They're pretty good. I'm pretty sure they're like a challengers team now, but they're
That's crazy.
actually Canadian. They're not even from Delaware.
That's crazy. Yeah, because the 302 team is based out of Delaware, and
Yeah.
the creators are actually Canadian.
Yeah.
So is that like a headquarters that they have in Delaware? Do they have like a practice facility like with a bunch of PCs or something? Like what is it? Or is it
I
just
mean, yeah, the owner's from Delaware, so I guess that's why he's very involved in the community in Delaware. He knows the people around there, so that's kind of where that came from. As far as
Mhm.
players, they're kind of spread out.
Yeah. I mean, you're based in Florida, right? So that's
Yeah,
that's a far-reaching community they already built there.
yeah,
I got to say cuz coming into this at first and deciding to do these interviews, I knew that one of the things that I had to do was just have a general understanding of what the community is like, right? And the different levels in the community, right? So they're the casual players, they're the semi-competitive players, the ones that they kind of go hard online and they post their clips. Then there's the players that are, right on the verge thinking of joining a team, and but they haven't taken that step yet. They don't know if they want to get that serious about it. And then there's the players that start it, and then so on and so forth. It goes up the line until you have owners of actual communities that, host these esports. So knowing that you are where you are, you've taken that step, right? You've already been in it for a year and a half. You
huh?
said you do tournaments, right? So what is
Yes.
it like to go to a tournament? What's the atmosphere like? What's the pressure like? Is it everything that everyone says? Is it that adrenaline rush that everyone loves when they do it?
Fire sale is active. Buy stations are adjusted. Enemy UAV active.
Speaking from a personal experience, I'm going into a tournament. I try to remain calm. Back then, when I first started, I'm not gonna lie, it was a lot of pressure. Over time, I learned how to keep my composure and stay calm. Because if you don't, you're just gonna crack and you're never gonna see any results. So my advice for anyone out there, you just gotta stay calm.
Yeah, because it's hard. I mean, a lot of people obviously you'd be a fool to say you're not nervous, but
Yeah.
you staying calm is part of it. You can be calm and nervous at the same time, but you won't think straight if you're not calm. So where do you want to go with this? Where is it that you want to finally end up? Like do you see yourself still doing this in 5 years? Do you see yourself continuing the grind to become just better than what you are now and a different player?
Most definitely. So right now, I'm trying to expand from online tournaments, and I'm trying to attend some LAN events because that's where the real cash is. I want to go to more LAN events, get my name out there, and hopefully join a bigger esports organization.
What is that dream esports organization? So there are obviously a bunch out there, but is
hmm
there one you got your eye on?
I know a lot of people would probably say something like FaZe or ESM, but I like Florida. I like Florida Mutineers. I wouldn't
Okay.
mind playing Warzone for them.
So being on an esports team, what's the camaraderie like? Like, are you close with your teammates? What's some of the things that you have to learn from your fellow players, right? Because when you start playing COD, there's different levels to it, right? There's the level where you go in and you're just blind, you're just running and hoping you stay alive, right? And then there's the other ones that, they pick a spot to spawn in. Like when you're dropping out the plane, where do you want to drop to first? What's the best place? Um, what is it? So let's start with Warzone, right? So when you're dropping off the plane in Warzone and you're picking a spot, what is it? What is the thought process to picking a spot for your team? Like, what is it? What goes into it? Because that's always interesting.
So whenever I'm dropping, I instantly think about, is there a buy station there? Where am I gonna
Mm,
rotate after I get loaded? How many
yes.
teams are gonna come here? You know, and those are all factors you gotta put into it. But 9 out of 10 times, I like to land on a place that, for one, has a buy station. Two, I know has a high cash spawn rate. And
Yep.
three is like, I don't like to land inside of zone, but I like to land right outside of it. And I like to rotate. Like, I'll probably send you a clip of this. I like to kind of
Hmm.
rotate to the left of zone depending on how the circle is. Let's say if I land Nova and the circle is
Right.
right above headquarters, but it wraps around like control maybe or something like that. And I would probably go like from Nova, go around the little houses over there at living quarters, go tents and wrap back around control. But that's just me. And I would probably get in a gunfight or two on the way. It just depends. It's a
Yeah, but
bunch
it's
of
about
factors that go into
it's
it.
about I guess for you that that has a higher chance of working out for you doing that process, rotating along the edge. So you're rotating along the edge of the circle when
Yeah.
you first drop out. That's what you like to do. Kind of
Hmm.
stay in that realm of like, because a lot of people they'll go further out. There'll be some people who go just a little bit further out. They won't be so close, or they'll be in the circle altogether. But you tiptoeing that line of the circle itself, it kind of gives you an opportunity to take a little risk and find some good spots, like you said, a buy
Yeah.
station or whatever, but then also be able to quickly get back in if you need to. And you
Exactly.
catch people trying to run in too, right? Like you catch people on their way
Oh,
into the
most
circle.
definitely. Most
Yeah.
definitely. It
But
also
people don't expect you to
depends,
be there.
like, it also depends how I'm playing. If I know I'm in a tournament and I need to frag out this match, then I'm gonna land prison, obviously, or control center. But if it's first game and we're just going for like, what do you call it, placement points? If we're just going for placement,
Yeah.
and we would play kind of slow, stay outside of zone, but we will also try to, get long range kills like snipes. Sit on top of Nova, probably snipe a few people at headquarters. It all just depends on what's going on.
So what's the pace like for you? So when you first start out,
Mhm.
there's obviously it's the most people on the map, right? So Warzone's 100 people,
Yeah.
give or take, depending on how many people jump in on the server, right? Um, but it's max 100 people. So when you first jump in, what's your pace like? If you see a lot of people, do you hide a little bit and do you kind of take your chances more indoors, or are you someone that likes to be just running from place to place, getting as much as you can in the early hours or early minutes of the match, and then
Most
dealing with
definitely.
people as they come?
Yeah, I literally just asked someone this yesterday. I was like, "You think I'm like a fast-paced player?" Because I don't know. Sometimes, majority of the time, I would consider myself a fast-paced player, but it also depends on the situation I'm in. If I know I'm clearly outgunned, these kids are holding the high ground, then I'm probably gonna avoid the gunfight. But
Right.
for the most of the time, I would consider myself a fast-paced player. I'm always moving. I'm always going to the next zone. You know.
That's good. That's good. But I guess that kind of helps you out in terms of your mentality in terms of being a competitive player because when you get to that level, the majority of players are fast paced,
Yeah.
right? They're not necessarily they're smart about what they do, but they do it quick. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So it's I guess that's kind of that habit that you have to build up if you really want to get into that. If you really think you're okay with getting into that realm of tournament and esports.
But I
I
need
downed someone.
armor. If I need armor, I need armor, I need armor.
I downed a kid right here.
I need armor. Oh, okay.
That's like 56 people under you, so
Drop that
I can grab
bitch.
Yeah, there's.
Hey, right there in front of me, don't push me. Coming out my line. He's pushing me. Got one.
Just being quicker about your decisions, but not going back. Like when you make a decision to go somewhere, right? Let's say you see the houses, like let's say over the horizon, right? And you want to get in there, you know that there's a buy station over there or something, but it's far. Like in the middle of getting there, because this happens to me. I'm a very casual player when it comes to Warzone. So when I see a spot and I'm like, ah, damn, like there's a whole field between me and that spot, but I gotta get over there because I gotta find out what's over there, right? Halfway through, I'll like see some people and I'll just turn my eyes back around. I'm like, nah, I don't want to do this. Like, I gotta find a different spot. It's too far. Like, do you just commit to a decision, or are you open to like changing your mind like halfway through and just pivoting in a way?
If I was in that situation where I'm crossing and I see a team in front of me, most likely, all right, if I'm solo, then I would probably try to take the height, get a pick or two, and keep pushing. But 9 out of 10 times, I would make the call out. Hopefully, I would get some backup, and we would take the team down. I don't back down
Hopefully.
from any gunfight. Yeah, hopefully, I would get some backup.
So you said you don't back down from any gunfight. So you would just, if they engage you,
Yeah,
that's
unless
it.
I'm like just clearly outgunned, but I don't back
You're
down
gonna
from
try at
any
least.
gunfight really.
That's good, man. Me, my ass is running the opposite direction. I'm hiding behind a tree until they pass. I'm doing something because I'm not. I've never, like I said in the last interview, one thing with COD that I've never able to get, and they mentioned that it's just about repetitive and just continuing to play every day and doing something that it'll make you better. I was never able to get that Twitch reaction, right? So I'll see players all the time, and I've seen your clips, and you're one of these players where someone will be like on the edge of the map, and I have no idea. I have no idea, not even the slightest idea, how you see that little pixel moving across the screen and you're like, oh, that's a person. But I guess is it just the repetitive action of you playing all the time? Or is that you have great vision and you have something in you that detects that shit? Because I was never able to see those people. And I that's why I never got to that next level.
It's kind of both. Like 9 out of 10 times when something like that happens, it's probably a spot that I was already expecting someone to be at. Let's say, for example, I'm on
Oh.
top of prison and rebirth. You're gonna expect someone to be at tower. So when you check tower, if you see any little thing move, all right, there's a person in tower. You know,
Oh
if you're on
shit.
prison, all right, and I'm looking straight towards control, I would expect someone to be to my right on shore. Like it's just map awareness.
Knowing the map and knowing the spawn points, right, is one of the keys. If you're not playing Warzone, if you're just playing multiplayer, right? Because you said you also have a multiplayer team,
Yeah.
correct? So when you're playing on those maps in multiplayer, right, and you know where the spawn points are, is there a timing aspect that you look for? And when you're attacking like a spawn point, or like because I know when you get to a certain point in the map, at least your team gets to a certain point where you're pushing them back, the spawns switch, right?
Yeah.
So they'll end up coming behind you. So is there a point in the game where you guys automatically know, let's turn around and get ready for the other side?
All right, I'll probably give you a clip of this because I got plenty clips of this, and I'll give you a scenario also. So let's say, we're in P2 on a boat cage hardpoint. P3 is on the other side of the map in what they call Granny's house, right? So at some point at like 20 seconds, depending if I'm playing a sub or AR, 9 out of 10 times I'm an AR player. That's what I play, main AR.
Yeah, I wanted to get into that too. What your favorite loadout is?
Yeah. So at like 20 seconds, I instantly know. All right, 20 seconds, time to rotate. We need to get on the other side of the map to set up for P3. My
Wow,
teammates,
20 seconds.
when I give the call out, all right, guys, I'm rotating. They instantly know. So we don't have a main AR holding the spawn. Now they're gonna start spawning behind us. So my teammates, they would turn around and get the picks.
Oh,
It's just simple
that's
call out.
crazy. That's probably very simple for any players that really jump into that level of play. Calling that out is probably very simple, but for any type of casual player, that's kind of eye opening. So you're staying back, you're manning the spawn, right? And your team has been pushing ahead and kind of dealing with the objective of the game that you guys are playing. You call out that you're rotating. You then push forward to where they at, but they're coming back to you.
Yeah.
So that process of that, because I'm thinking of it. Let's say there's 5 players, right? Or are there 4 players?
Yeah, it's
There's
4
5.
and competitive. It's
4. Okay. So you got 3 pushing forward. So as you're pushing up, they're coming back. So it's kind of like a scissor mechanic where you guys cross each other's paths and you meet at that line, and now you're rotating and you're facing the other side. Do you go back to that other spawn while they push forward, or does someone else take that role and stay at the spawn?
All right, so if I rotate at 20 seconds, I'm an AR. The other 3 players are most likely sub players if it's a build cage hardpoint. 2 of them would probably rotate at like 15 seconds, and 1 person would stay and probably get what we call scraps, just leftover time. Anything after like 15 seconds is pretty much considered scraps. So 1 person would say, all right, I'm staying and holding scraps. Everyone else rotates. We're already on the next point and situated for the next gunfight.
There you
Only
go.
thing that could really mess that situation up if the person that's holding scraps stays there a little too long, and now that we're spawning on the opposite side of the map because he's still on that end of the map. But as long as you know what you're doing, that rarely ever happens, especially on a bull cage hardpoint if you're rotating from P2 to P3. And the competitive players out there will know what I'm talking about. I'll probably have a clip of
Yeah,
this,
for sure.
but
You dropping the knowledge for anyone listening on this right now. I'm hyped about this because honestly, looking at it from this perspective is a completely different game. So we were touching on it before, but the loadouts, right? So in the last interview, we kind of talked about the loadouts and what people do to the loadouts. Like for example, the bullfrog is a very popular gun for a lot of people. At least the people that find out about it, they know like, hey, the bullfrog is one of those guns that you gotta have. But you were talking about how you're an AR player, right? And then there are sub players, right?
yeah.
So what is the difference in terms of the effect you have on the team? Because like games like Overwatch and games like Valorant, right? The roles that people play is really important. And in terms of COD, it's really about the weapons you have. And what is it that differentiates a team that doesn't care about that and a team that really takes those roles into consideration?
All right. Well, first off, there's something called restrictions and GAs. And competitive COD, it pretty much GA means gentleman's agreement, where is when the competitive teams decide to, all right, we're not going to use these guns. They pretty much just ban them. So there's really only like one option of, I think you can
Right.
use 2 subs and like for AR like 3. But yeah, you don't really have much variety, so you just
You
got to
already
get
have
what
that
they
many
give you.
options.
Yeah, you just got to get what they give you and run with it. But
Okay.
as far as the objectives on the map, the AR would be the person that's like sitting in spawn. He's on the heady. He's watching over the point, on the point, getting time, wrapping around. They're making sure the enemy isn't getting on a point. And there's different positions as well as what gun you're playing with.
I see. So that GA, right? Does that go for your supporting equipment that you have? So like, your flashbangs and your grenades.
Yeah, it
Does
goes
that get
for
affected as
everything.
well on that?
Yep, perks and everything. Like I
So
don't
it's
know the
basically
full
just making
GA
a level
list right
playing
now.
field.
Yeah, pretty
That's fine.
much.
Yeah, it's just a level playing
I'll
field for
probably send you a
everybody.
picture of it, but there's like
That's
probably
dope.
like a few things you can use. It's so bad, like you can't use gun blueprints. I think you can only use
Damn.
like freaking like CDL operators or like default skins. Like the
That's
GAs are
wild.
horrible, bro. It's crazy.
Yeesh. Well, I guess the skins can that's kind of understandable maybe in a way, because when you're playing that eye game where in terms of what you see on the map,
Yeah,
you want everybody to be able to see. You don't want somebody taking advantage of the map and picking a skin where you literally can't see them at
yeah,
all, right? So
true.
keeping those default skins, maybe that's a little understandable in terms of it. But the
They
guns
even have
too.
certain settings though.
Mm.
Like I think they GA tactical sprint like that. Yeah,
So they
so it's
really tap
hard.
into everything when it
Yeah.
comes to that competitive style.
Hmm.
That's crazy. So now that you have that under your belt, right? This year and a half, and you've been with your team, even though you said they're kind of new teams, so you guys don't really know each other that well yet, but you guys obviously learning all the time. You have practices like every week. So without revealing too many details, because we know you guys are a competitive team, you can't throw your stuff out there. Like, what is a practice like? Like, what is that? What is that atmosphere like? Are you guys all logging into the game at the same time? Do you guys run like exhibition type games? Like, what do you guys do to practice?
So usually our practices consist of we usually get on like 6:30. We play some ranked play. They just added that. It's like a competitive based game mode where CDO restrictions apply. So we usually
Yeah.
play some rank.
Hmm.
And after rank, we would either do GBs. I'm not sure if you know what that is. GBs is a website called Game Battles, and it's where you can make a team and play against other competitive players and get like XP points to move higher on the ladder. When you're high enough on that ladder, you can. That's how you get your name out there in the amateur scene.
Dude,
So
that's good. That's something that's the type of info I want, because
yeah,
a lot of this is about the players that are thinking about taking that step. So GB, that's game battles.
yeah, Game Battles. They also have something called CMG, which is Checkmate Gaming. Those are two
Oh
good
damn.
websites to start playing competitively. So we either do some
Make
of
sure y'all
that.
hit up Jarvis after this and let him know, yo, thanks for the info. If y'all really taking this in, because this is huge right here. This is good. This is good info for the people.
Yeah, so we either do some of those or we either do a scrim against another amateur team. And then after that,
Now,
we
do you guys
usually
have
just
these
chill out.
amateur teams? Like, do you have their contacts?
Oh yeah,
Like, do you have them? I guess there are a few that you're in contact with,
most
but is it just
definitely.
like one other amateur team, or you guys have like, are you guys all like in tune with each other in a way?
It just depends who you know. Like right now, I'm in like a few different amateur team servers. I would say over 10. I'm
Okay,
yeah, I
so
know a lot
whoever's
of people in the
available at the time.
community. Yeah, because I own a league, so a lot of people know me. So I'll just hit someone up I know. Hey, do you want to scrim? They say yeah, and we scrim.
That's it. It's that simple, man. I guess once you're in it and you're good and you're kind of past that initial threshold of like proving yourself,
Hmm.
then you got your respect. Communicating with other people becomes a whole different thing. It's a little easier, but then you get to practice and you get to do your thing. So how long do you guys practice for? Is it like all night? Is it kind of like, is it a chill environment, or you guys are always feeding off of each other information, improving and things like that?
Uh, we usually start at 6:30. I would say it really just depends. Some people have to hop off, or if we're on a streak, we might stay on longer. But maybe like 10:30 ish, we probably call it a day. It just depends what we have
Okay.
going on.
How long did it take you to develop, getting all of this? So like you started playing COD when you were like what? What would you say your age was when you started playing any of these games with competitive game modes?
All right. Well, I've been playing COD since I was about 5. My first COD was MW4, but I
You
didn't
said you
play.
said you said you said 5?
Yeah, I was around that age or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, damn,
I
son.
don't know. That
Yeah,
was
that's
me,
crazy.
bro. I wasn't like back then when I was a kid. I just used to play campaign and that was it. But I didn't start playing
Okay.
like multiplayer COD until like BO4, and
Okay.
I didn't
Well,
start playing
you're
competitive
good then.
COD. Yeah, I didn't start playing competitive COD
You
until
missed the toxic
early
ass
Cold War.
atmosphere from back then, man.
I know, man.
It's still kind of toxic, but it was toxic back then. There were no regulations. There were no rules on what you said. Like they didn't really monitor that, and it was really raw because the internet was still kind of in its infancy in terms of gaming. So you would go on and you would kind of have to deal with whatever was there, and it'd be the randomest shit. Like, you wouldn't even understand what's going on the mic. You'd hear arguments, you'd hear like like fights maybe. You'd hear a mom coming in the room like, "What are you doing? You've been on there for 12 hours." Like you'd hear everything. And nowadays is a little bit more somber, a little bit more held back. It still can be toxic, but it's nowhere. Everyone would tell you it's nowhere near was when you were 5, man. So you probably did good hopping on a Black Ops 4. You probably would have been traumatized out of playing the game. Maybe I don't even know. Who knows where you would be right now? Moving on. we have your competitive game. You have your COD and your Warzone. But what do you do on your free time, bro? Like, what do you like to play? Like, are you into any story games? Like, are you into anything that's kind of just you sit down and enjoy the experience? Like, what would you say has been your favorite game throughout your life besides, you know, these competitive styles?
I do play a few other games. I like battle royale games. I play a little bit of Apex, a little bit of
Nice.
PUBG. I play a game called Road Company. I'm not sure if you know what that is.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I play some
Yeah,
of
that's
that.
that's not a lot of people play that.
Yeah, I
It's
actually
got a
wanted
good
to start
community.
like playing it competitively, but I don't know. I might have to give it a try one day. Play
I
some
guess whenever you get
Minecraft,
into a
some
game,
GTA.
you always like, get good at it, and then you're like, oh man, you know what? I think I want to try this competitively right now, bro. Like, like, do you feel that feeling whenever you get into a game now that you've been in this area of your life for a while?
Most definitely. Yeah, I was even thinking about doing like competitive Apex. You know, I'm always looking for a challenge.
Definitely, it hasn't been for me, but it's super cool, super amazing to see someone who's kind of taking that step. And you know, like I said, to a lot of people out there, he might seem like he's far along, but Jarvis, you've only been in this for a couple years,
Yeah,
so it's really attainable. A lot of people can do it, and it's just about finding the right channels, right? You got game battles, like you said. You have
Checkmate Gaming.
Checkmate Gaming. So, you know, you have a lot of avenues to try it out. So if you guys out there are feeling like you want to go ahead and just see where it takes you, then, you know, just take that first step and, you know, just believe in yourself. And if you're good enough, you'll be fine. And if you're not, you always have a chance to get better and join further down the line. So definitely was great having this conversation with you, Jarvis. If you anything you want to drop your tags, go ahead, man. Drop everything that you got and let everybody know, you know, get whatever little following you can out of this, man.
Yeah, man. My Twitch is BruhJarvis. Instagram is BruhJarvis. Twitter is BruhJarvis_.
So you're on Twitch, you're on. So what do you? So you don't really stream. You guys aren't streaming when you guys are practicing, right?
I usually don't scream when I practice. Only time I scream is like post tournament or while I'm in a tournament.
All right, man. Well, definitely happy to have you here, man. This is a great conversation. I really appreciate you taking out the time to come and join me on this new endeavor where I'm giving a lot of these smaller creators and competitive players, you know, just a place where they could come and talk,
Most
you know, and just have a
definitely.
chill time. And it's really blew up. Like I said before, man, I didn't think a lot of people would be into this, you know, considering that it's just a small platform, you know. But since I'm catering to a lot of the smaller creators and medium creators, even, it's like, you know, I already have 4 interviews scheduled, man. So this is really intense, and I'm happy the community loves it. And I hope you guys enjoyed the interview. And again, hit up BruhJarvis on DMs if you want to have some tips, maybe, but don't bother him too much
I'm
because he be
fine with it.
practicing.
I'm fine with it.
No doubt, man. So this is Filmic Gaming. This is a gaming creator series. I hope you guys enjoy it, and peace out.
They're in this building.
Yeah.
Supply box ready for pickup.
There's another one in there. He's self-resing. Survived his teammate.
This is yours.
Oh,
Squad member is redeploying.
I almost died. Bro pulled off the self res. Let me clip that.